Be with you in a minute. Just checking my Facebook. Oh, and then I've got to do Twitter and post onto Instagram, of course, and then check to see if any of my videos on YouTube have been viewed again. Hello to you and welcome to this week's episode. So, I had some training this week about the dark web as it's such and how to protect children from said dark web. Now, I feel I'm quite up on internet and on what's available out there and the different websites and things like that, and it was interesting to me that a lot of my colleagues weren't. Of the websites that they were talking about, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Omegle, all these sorts of things, vast majority of my colleagues knew about the most high profile ones, but a lot of the other ones they didn't even know about. And it just got me thinking about what children have access to on the internet these days. I mean, we all know about the film ratings, the U, PG, 12A, 12, 15, 18, and then R18, restricted 18. And we all know that lots of children see films that are rated or restricted to an older age band. We know that teenagers will try and go and see 18 films when they're 17 and such like. And it's the same with games. Their PEGI ratings, 3 plus, 7 plus, etc., all the way up to 18 plus. And there are children playing games that are hugely inappropriate, that are restricted to 18, and they're, say, 11 or 12. Call of Duty, the Grand Theft Auto ones and things like that. And again, that was talked about at this training, and a lot of my colleagues weren't aware of some of the themes and content of these games. And maybe it's just me, but I was amazed that they weren't aware. They hadn't made themselves aware. This is something that children are exposed to, whether it's right, wrong, legal, illegal, whatever. Young children, are exposed to 18 films and 18 games. And if you are a teacher or a lecturer or something like that, you need to be aware of the sorts of things that they're going to be watching and viewing and playing, just so you've got that knowledge in yourself, so you don't let the children have more knowledge than you in a way. Another thing, obviously, the watershed, the 9 o'clock watershed on TV. Things are being said that years ago couldn't have been said before the watershed, and now they are being said before the watershed. Seems as if it's been watered down, if you excuse the pun there. Watershed has been watered down. And so younger people are exposed to a lot more in terms of bad language, in terms, of all the themes, the drugs, the sex, etc., the violence. It's all in the, things like Hollyoaks and East Ends and things like that. And it's not just there, obviously it's out in the media and everything else. But the main thing that got me thinking was, it's all very well putting these restrictions out there on things people buy in shops and what have you, but what about the internet? The internet is this vast thing where there can be anything out there. And I mean quite literally anything. Now, I'm sure that most 13 to 17 year olds, if not younger, have laptops or notebooks or tablets or smartphones even that have access to the internet. And yes, they may have restricted access, but there are things that can get through parental restrictions. But then there are some things that parents allow their children on regardless. Things like Facebook, where the legal requirement, in theory, is that it's a 13-year-old. You have to be 13 to have a Facebook account. I know of children younger than 13 that have Facebook accounts. And there are some things on Facebook that personally I feel are not appropriate for even 13 to 17-year-olds, let alone younger. But anyway. Twitter is another one, 13. And that's a sort of, you can follow celebrities and things, but anything you put out there is absolutely public. It can be viewed by anyone who follows you, and anyone can find you and follow you on there. Instagram. Pinterest, Tumblr, they're all 13. And certain aspects of those things are absolutely fine. But there are some darker elements to those websites. Some very dark elements to some websites that children should not be exposed to. But officially, legally, they're allowed on there. You get other websites such as WhatsApp, which has a 16 rating on it. Vine has a 17 age restriction on it. Websites like YouTube have an 18 restriction, although YouTube is a bit different because it says 13 to 17 year olds with parents' permission. But as I said, how many kids have got these devices that can connect to the internet that they're using in their bedroom that their parents haven't got a clue about? How many YouTubers out there are under the age of 18? Not that I'm saying generally there's anything wrong with that, but the lines are so blurred now that it's difficult, it really is difficult for parents to have control over what their children see. And that's why, going back to my point earlier about how my colleagues were unaware, I feel that anyone who is at all involved with children, whether you are parents, grandparents, aunts or uncles, work in schools, work in colleges, work in higher education, work in child social services, or any of those things, anyone who has any sort of contact with children needs to be aware of these sorts of websites and the rules pertaining to the websites, so that they can protect and safeguard the children from any potential danger, because at the end of the day it's just a potential danger. Yes, there are people out there that could use these websites that would try and get to the children, but the vast majority of people wouldn't. The vast majority of people are sane and sensible people. There is that element, and that potential for that element to get to the children through these websites. The one website that perhaps I feel is the worst is Omegle. Omegle literally advertises itself as a place to talk to strangers. Now, if you read the small print on it, it talks about not giving out your details, it talks about no nudity, and all of those things, so it covers itself totally. It also says, in its small print, use Omegle at your own peril. They literally use that word, peril, because they know the potential dangers of youngsters using this website to talk to strangers. Again, it has an 18 restriction on it, but 13 to 17 with parental permission. How many 13, 14, 15-year-olds are actually telling their parents what they're doing on the internet? How many of them are actually telling them what they're doing, day to day? But how many parents are aware of this website? I mean, I'm aware of it because of YouTubers who I watch have made videos going onto Omegle and seeing, what happens, and it's vast majority is fine, but then some of it's really not, and should not be viewed by those under the age of 18, in my opinion. The world, the real world, is a scary enough place, but the world of the internet can be even scarier, and anyone who is connected or works with children in any way has an obligation, in my view, to do something about that. We can't do anything about the websites, we can't do anything about children going on the websites, if I'm absolutely frank, but we can make ourselves aware of the dangers of these websites, and we can make ourselves aware so we can give guidance, give help, suggest things to children to make sure that they keep themselves safe. It's about education. Because these companies that put these websites out, they're businesses, they're out for the money. And they don't really care. I don't care what they say, they don't really care about the safety of the users. They don't. So it's down to us. It's down to each one of us who has any connection with children to find out, to learn, to educate ourselves so we can educate them. That's all I'm going to talk about this week. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.